Hi Anna, this is Linda. Thank you so much for submitting your essay. I wanted to kind of go over it with you. The format looks pretty good. You've got your heading and a title. I recommend that your title be something related to your topic. So I would say, come up with a related title for your essay. Let me orient you with what I've done. So the red marks in here represent things that are maybe needing improvement, or it could be sentence problems or word choice, anything that seems a little bit awkward or is hard to follow as a reader. The pink is something that I really love, and then the green, which is a little bit further down here, are the parts that I feel are most connected to the main message of your essay. So what I am getting as this main message is that your experience in Germany in learning a new language really changed your approach to learning. Now, I would think more particularly your experience with this girl, Sarah, and with this teacher, which is a nice, interesting juxtaposition of this Frau Müller, who sounds terrible, and then this nice girl, Sarah, that I love this little detail here, who initially giggled at my introduction and spoke the best English and was very helpful on the first day. And then she became one of your best friends and was a key driving point for you learning the language. Another key idea is that what took me 2 minutes to get through changed my entire attitude. My question for you here is, was it the embarrassment that changed your attitude, or was it meeting Sarah? Was it the combination of Sarah, Frau Müller, and that experience? Could the conflict that you faced have caused the change in you? What I mean by that is, one of the interesting parts of a narrative essay is that there is usually some sort of a conflict involved. And it could be an internal conflict, or it could be a literal physical conflict. I think you kind of have a little bit of both. I mean, you've got this internal conflict of not really wanting to be in Germany and being resistant to learning, and then the conflict of being in a new environment, and the conflict of not understanding things, and of also being embarrassed by what your lack of understanding is. But because of that conflict, it leads you to become more efficient. So we go from this right here down to here, and after that, and I'm assuming that is, I guess that my question is what is that? What is the impetus for your change? Exactly. What I think you need to do is be very specific in telling us what it is. And I think that it's nice that you kind of have all of these main ideas in the latter part of your essay, which is typical to a literary or a literacy narrative, because the first part of the essay really is kind of building up of the story. Now, there are a few elements that are missing that you will be graded on. You do need to have some sort of dialogue, and you have a little bit when you give me that awesome sentence in German. Where did it go? Oh, where did it go? I feel like I lost it here. Here we go. This is a little bit of kind of the type of dialogue where I can actually hear your voice, and I love the mixture of English and German, and it's a great way to start this paragraph. I would like to see you do more You could do some dialogue here with Frau Muller, rather than tell us about, or tell the reader, why don't you show us the conversation? You could reenact it in writing in some way. Another place that you could also do dialogue is, with your aunt and with your parents. You could also reenact that conversation if you wanted to. Another place where you might be able to add some dialogue would be probably here with your friendship with Sarah. So I'm just giving you some choices. You don't have to do the dialogue in all of these places, but it is important that you have the dialogue in there. And so when you look at this, this is the grading rubric. If I were to grade your final draft, this is what I'll be using. And so you're focused, you're meeting the expectations, and if you want to push yourself to that higher level, then you need to really make sure that all of the paragraphs work together well with topic sentences, and that they're also relating idea to a major thesis or theme for your whole essay. I would say in terms of development, there are a lot of sentences in there that are not really focused, or they lack the detail. So I think what you want to do is provide more development for some of your paragraphs, a little bit more detail, a little bit more information, a little bit more showing the reader what's going on rather than just telling us what's going on. As far as organization, the organization works. I can definitely see that you're working to have a strong beginning and a strong ending. I can see that kind of circular reasoning happening. And there is a logical progression. I think that if you want to get to that exceeding expectations, then you need to have better transitions between your paragraphs. I would say in terms of style, it's not that your word choice is so horrible. I don't want you to think that. It's that there is some sentences that don't have a lot of content. There's a lack of variety of vocabulary or maybe details. And I'll show you a couple of those examples in just a minute. And then there are a lot of sentence errors. Mainly, I'm noticing with you are a lot of kind of run-on sentences where you're using a comma to join two independent clauses. So you want to add in a conjunction or replace that comma with a period. And then the reason why you fall below expectations with the required elements is because that dialogue and those details really aren't as strong as they could be. So don't be discouraged by this. I'm purposely hard on the rough draft rubric. I want you to kind of push yourself towards meet expectations or the exceeds expectations. So this is attached also to your feedback. So let me just show you a couple places where I'm talking about those comma splices or those run-on sentences. Up here where we have this comma, though I had moved around a lot and had been to a fair share of schools, this was completely different. You're missing a subject here. This school was completely different. This classroom was completely different. I'm a little confused. I circled this and added it to here because you're saying here it's different, and then you were familiar and it was the same as any other classroom you had been in. I think you need to be more specific. This isn't a place that that this is what I'm talking about, like give more information. This is pretty vague. Be more, or I would say use more specific language here. So like, for example, you might say something more like this. I was familiar with schools and classrooms. It looked the same as any other new classroom that I had been in. But the major difference that was causing my stomach, that was causing knots in my stomach, was that everyone in the room was speaking a language that I was completely unfamiliar with. So you're kind of like pulling that all together and tightening it up by giving just a few more words where you're replacing those non-specific pronouns or non-specific words with more specific word choices. It's not a matter of really rewriting a lot, it's just a matter of changing some of the words in the sentence. I would say that I have the same feedback right in here and right here. This is another example of a comma splice where you're joining two sentences together with a comma. The problem was that I didn't want to go. I didn't want to move, period. No one else in my family was moving. And I was supposed to be starting high school with my friends, period. There was an aunt whom I had never met. I think you need to give us a little bit more information between the move and the aunt and like why this all came up. Anyways, it's late and I'm rambling. I really do appreciate that you turned your assignment on time. I appreciate your patience with me, and I hope this feedback will help you. I know it's kind of late in the timeline of our deadline. Do the best that you can, and I look forward to seeing your final draft. Thank you so much.